Welcome to the Simply Be Found Huddle, where we talk about everything business and make marketing simple and just anything business related. You've got Dean and myself, the co-founders of simplybefound.com. And today we have our guest, Steve. How are you doing?
Super good, Rob. How are you?
Doing good. Thanks for coming on and being part of the show.
Yeah, you bet. It's my pleasure. And thanks for having the show for me to be on. I know it's a lot of work, so I appreciate it.
Definitely. Can you tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I am Steve Perry. I was not the lead singer of Journey. Don't ask me to sing.
Yeah. When I saw that, I thought we were going to get some notes out of you.
my wife has strictly forbade me from singing "Don't Stop Believing" anymore, so I can't do that. But I've been married 14 years to my beautiful wife Tabitha, best sale of my life, and I've got two little girls. Lily is 10 and Liberty is 8, and we live in Minnesota.
Awesome. I've got kids almost the same age, 10 and 7. Well, my oldest out of that's going to be 10 coming up tomorrow. And then at the time of recording this, and then, I've got a 7-year-old. And then I've got my 4 older kids, which are, my oldest will be 25, I think, this year.
Awesome.
So I got figured up the other day, and I was like, God, that makes me feel old.
My kids are my kids, but they're adults now, so I don't even count them anymore.
Definitely. And what is it that you do in the recruiting world?
Yeah, so I founder and CEO of the Well Recruiting Solutions. We work exclusively in the wealth management industry with firms from about 10 employees to 100, and anywhere from a couple $100 million in client assets that they manage to multiple billions. And our job is to get them the talent they need to continue their growth. I mean, the wealth management industry just continues to explode, and there's a huge talent need in that. And my background, I spent 17 years as an advisor and building advisory teams and then running firms. But I didn't own the company. And so after 17 years, I was like, I'm a very highly paid employee, but I own nothing. And so I'm going to go start my own firm. And so I started the Well, like I said, about a year and a half ago. And we got about 30 people on our team now, and we're all over the United States.
Oh, that's awesome. So you discovered in the corporate world that you were making everybody else money. So why not go out and do it for yourself? Basically, you became that entrepreneur type.
Yeah, and it's interesting, Dean. So I started as an advisor, under a big, Fortune 100 brand, but it was my practice, my clients, and that's why I got into it, right? To be the entrepreneur, and then moved into a leadership role, which I gave all that up, and so after 12 years of really recruiting people into the advisory space to help and helping them build their own practice. Like sooner or later, I'm like, I'm literally selling people the dream of entrepreneurship, but I don't have it myself. Like something isn't adding up here.
How hard is the recruiting world for that right now? I know a lot of businesses are struggling at finding good talent.
Yeah.
How hard is it in that world right now?
Well, it for us to find it is not difficult at all. That was one of the things that we had to make sure before we went to market, that we had a phenomenal engine to find talent. So we have that. I've spent multiple 6 figures on the database and all the tech. We've got like 40 different tech platforms that we use to make our job to be the industry leader in finding the talent. And then we have amazing people that run the whole program. So for us, it was expensive and hard, but now it's not, because we put the work in up front.
It's all about those processes that you have. Now, how much has AI changed that world?
We use it. I will say ChatGPT. I probably use that for 15 hours a week. And I know, that's not AI. Obviously it is AI, but like that is the most used in our world. Because we have fragmented systems, right? We got 40 different tech platforms, and we're a startup. I haven't had the budget to, hire the developer, the AI engineer to come in and make everything sing. So most of the tech we're using has a component of it, but it's not a like running certain parts of our business at this point, or probably a year from that.
So are you using the AI for data analysis more so than anything? Is that what you're doing?
But super manually, right? It's not layered over. It's literally like, copy and paste screenshots or big giant Excel sheets into ChatGPT and then running the analysis is from that. And, again, we've got the expensive account with our team, so it remembers all the stuff about us, but we're not, it is not automated integration into our world yet.
Okay.
So you haven't brought someone like me in to come into the data science side and say, okay, this is how we're going to engineer all your problems. And we can take this and make this a lot easier.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much you could do with that. And I think that AI has changed the recruitment world in some aspects, at least for us and what I'm seeing. For applicants are using it. And it shocks me in how many people don't take the time to look at the stuff before they send it in, and they leave placeholders inside of all their applications. I look at it and I'm like, you're applying for a big position and you didn't even take the time.
Rob, I can only tell you, but funny enough, I'm working on influencing the LinkedIn world, and I have like a very small following right now, but my only viral post was exactly that. Someone who applied for a job, left the placeholders in there, and apparently LinkedIn loved that because that blew up.
It's one of those, it shocks the heck out of me because it just, any position that you're applying for that is going to be at that kind of level, especially one that they're applying for you, or the ones I get, it's like you have to pay attention to detail. And if you can't pay attention to detail at the very beginning, you're not going to make it.
No. You're out. You're out. Thank you. Thanks for doing that because you saved me a bunch of time and money.
Exactly. Okay. Well, next, I'm not going to do it. So
it's kind of like, okay, pass, don't pass, to the next level.
So when you are working with anybody inside of the wealth area and you're looking through applications and you're going through, is there any advice that you have from a recruitment standpoint to make yourself stand out from outside of the AI, besides filling in all the details and being able to do it? What is it you are looking for as a recruiter right now?
Well, so I will tell you, Rob, only about 10% of our hires are coming from applicants. About 90% of them are coming from our team going out and finding people.
Okay.
And I, understanding the plight of the audience and people that might be on this call that I'm sure are extremely talented and find themselves in a position where they need a new job. Like, I know that's not encouraging. It just really is the state of the market. However, so I will tell you, it's the old school things that matter. So, I'll just tell you what people are up against, and we'll just speak to our company personally, right? So we've got 30 people on our team, so we've done a lot of hiring ourselves. The last position, and I don't hire people now myself for the company, but the last one I did, we got 800 applicants in about 36 hours, and so there's nothing you can do to stand out in that. It's not possible. And there's some things that we do to be able to filter through that pretty quickly. But I will say, here's what stands out. Out of those 800 applicants, I had less than 5 that added me on LinkedIn and sent me a personal message.
Oh, so that personal touch is really important.
Yeah.
I look for that when I'm hiring for us, Dean. I look to see if someone's going to be able to take that time to be able to do it. Because when you go out and you have, I have a position open right now and we have 75 applicants in the last hour for that position. I mean, it's one of those things to where I could go through and I could read over all those. For one, they're going to go through the AI first, get screened through, but everything starts to look the same and all confused between them. Yeah. So standing out and making yourself stand out is going to make me go, oh, what about this person? I'll actually deeper look at those resumes inside of that aspect.
Yeah. So I'll tell you what we do internally for hiring. We can't get all our clients to do this. And again, frankly, we're typically not hiring off of the applicants for our clients. But I put at the top and at the bottom, you need to send me an email and you need to tell me how you align with the mission, vision, values of our company. And I even make it so easy that I put them in there. It's at the top and the bottom. right? But as you know, everyone's just pushing the easy apply button, which, by the way, is the best thing that happened to recruiters, because internal talent acquisition departments are overwhelmed with applications. And so they're like, I can't deal with it. I'll hire you guys to do this for us. But that immediately, Robert, goes down to we had 800 applicants. Only about 60 emailed me with answering that question. And of those 60, about 20 of them forgot to fill in the blanks from their ChatGPT prompt. The other 30 left with the same font from ChatGPT, which is not necessarily a negative, because I want someone who's using it, but it just was hyperbole and completely, like, it was obvious they don't know how to engineer a prompt for their life. And so it lowered it down to like 10 legitimate applicants for it. That's what we've done to really save our bacon and be able to go through all of that.
So, in the applicants that are going, that you were talking about, what experience level are they? Is it all over the place? Do people with experience did the same mistakes as people that are low on the experience level? I'm just really curious.
It's irrespective of their experience.
Okay.
Yeah, totally.
And we have a lot of listeners that own small businesses, and they're struggling at recruiting right now. So if you were to take your skill set and put it as that small business owner to be able to find talent, and find talent that's going to work inside of the business, sometimes not the highest in positions, would you have any tips inside of there?
Yeah. So, and I'll tell you, like, as a small business owner, right, we did 400 grand in revenue our first year, right? You know, this year should be a lot more, but like every dollar matters at that level. Like, to pay a headhunter fee to pay us, we're expensive. Like, so you're probably not doing that until you're a few million in revenue. So what do you do on a budget? I would say your best bet, if you're white collar, is to go to LinkedIn Recruiter or LinkedIn and post a job on LinkedIn, sponsor it, spend $10 to $20 a day in sponsoring that ad, put in directions that take people outside of LinkedIn, because it's so easy from their perspective to hit the easy apply button and it auto generates an application, and like there's no telling. So you want to first make sure you put directions in there that say, do something outside of, like I said, send an email with some kind of directions to this inbox. Depending on the position, if you expect a lot of traffic, you might want to set up a second, inbox for where you have them send it to and not your personal, because you're going to get scraped and you're going to get a gazillion solicitations. But you're going to start at that level and look at the people who respond that way. And those are going to be your best applicants. You should put 3 or 4 filters on there. So you can say, like, experience. It's not very customizable, but you can have them filter for different experience, or, software that they've used, or years of experience, or education, or whatever's relevant to your position that you need. That will automatically filter out people that don't hit that. You can say recommended or required. Because what I have found is, there are good people that have been applying for jobs for weeks, and they've literally applied at hundreds of places, and they're a little jaded and they'll miss the directions. So if you don't get the talent you need from the email applicants, then you can go into the LinkedIn applicants and you have to be the popular girl at homecoming at prom. Yeah. You have to be choosy and not afraid to like filter out. If someone immediately is like, nope, next. And then you'll create a short list and go from there. But that's going to be your best bang for the buck on more blue collar positions. LinkedIn's probably not going to be your best bet. You're probably going to want to do an Indeed.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of goes all the way across. I mean, it's one of those things to where I still like the pre-screening email as well, to where if they don't answer all of the questions, and I didn't find somebody that answered all the questions and did all the steps I want them to do, and I'm like, I got to use these applicants. There might be somebody in there. Let's go through. I use a pre-screening email to where I'll send that email out to that whole list and see how many people take the time to answer all my questions and then do the task.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how many people won't do it, which just blows my mind.
Totally.
Exactly. Then when Rob gets done with the pre-screening, he hands me 3 of them, says, all right, it's your turn to jump in and evaluate with me.
Totally. And so, okay, so let me then say this. You're going to get, most of the time, you're going to get a C player, B- player doing that. So if you really want an A player, it's going to take your time. And you have to go find, you gotta be creative. And again, like ChatGPT should be your best friend. You should talk to that thing for 2 hours a day. If you're a business owner, it should know everything about your business. You should and I always just put it on voice, like dictate. And I tell it everything I want this person to do and have it create the job description for me. Have it create a target list. Like what are shoulder industries where this person works in? Give me the LinkedIn filterable things that I can go look for on LinkedIn and go find this person and network with them. Find who, and like your best candidates are already working somewhere else. You need to go steal them. So that's really what it should do. And that's why people pay us, because that just, that's the owner, right? The owner has to be on that level and have those conversations. You can't delegate that. And oftentimes the owner's time is too expensive to go do that, but it's worth paying someone like us to go do that.
And they let you do all the heavy lifting to start with, basically.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So typically when you're going and you're handing somebody over a list of applicants, do you narrow that down to one person, 3 people, 5 people? What does that look like?
Yeah, I'll give you kind of our KPIs, right? So we will create a short list of about 75 people that fit the parameters locally. We will reach out to every one of them. Again, almost everyone's working somewhere else. We'll get typically 30 of them to engage, and we'll have our recruiter will have a conversation with about 30 of them. We'll take probably anywhere between 7 and 12 to an actual interview. And something that I would say, I don't understand why it's unique, but every client tells us they've never seen this before. We will take every candidate to a pre-recorded Zoom or recorded Zoom interview where our recruiter will engage with them. We'll record it. Our client will have worked with them to create what are the questions you need to know. And then we have some of our standard ones in there. And basically we're creating a product, a video interview of this candidate. From those 7 to 12, we'll send 3 to 5 to the client. And so our goal with them is you'll be able to see, we'll send probably 75%. We'll weed out a quarter. We'll send 75, and then they'll say, I want to meet with 3, 4, or 5 of them. And that's, that's essentially the top 5% of eligible candidates in the entire market.
Now, I'm kind of curious on that process. So I'm going to toss something out there. You're either doing it or you're not doing it. Are you utilizing the script from that pre-recorded video of them answering those questions? Are you doing anything with the transcript of that?
Yeah, so we'll use that to create kind of a commercial, a written commercial of the candidate. So when we submit something to a client, here's the link to the recorded interview. Here's a link to the transcript, but then here's the highlights, Mr. Business Owner. You don't have time to read the whole thing. And so we're having that automatically generate a kind of commercial for them.
So from a data aspect, I look at the transcript, and I do this with our transcripts, and how I do that piece is you could actually take that transcript and then you could give it a grade based on the questions they asked, based on what the job description is, the requirements, all that stuff. You could set it up inside of the AI systems to where then it'll grade it and it'll give a performance review based on how those answers were done. Have you touched that at all? I'm just curious.
Yeah, it's on our product roadmap to basically create a process for every client, creating kind of an ideal candidate, avatar that we can score against, and how we do that in our system. No, we haven't done it yet. It's on the roadmap, but yeah, no, you nailed it.
So that was one of the funner things I've done, because I use that on a business side as well for qualifying leads and qualifying data points from a data set standpoint. So I'll do that inside of knowing how those networks are going to respond and on a marketing level or on a sales level. So you can utilize that same piece, because that's what I like about recruiting is it's no different than selling. You're just selling a different product.
Yeah.
But you can actually qualify that out, and ChatGPT does an okay job at it. Claude does a little bit better for that than Grok. but you can build it out inside of Chat GPT, and it'll actually say, "Here's my score. Here's each of those pieces." It's pretty awesome when you get to that level of it. So I was curious if you were building it. Sometimes I wonder if I came up on something that nobody else is really thinking about.
And I'll tell you, you're dead on. And one of the other things we want to do is to be able to scrape the company's website and their socials and even like their YouTube channel to get a kind of a cultural assessment and then be able to analyze for a cultural fit too. Cause that's there's so many people that are qualified on paper in the way they answer the questions. And so,
right.
But then we'd also have to develop, what are the questions that we could ask to be able to qualitatively quantify that and create an alignment. Right. That's probably 4.0 on it.
So do you spend time when you're sending out the application, the information out, the culture of the company or the culture of the company, where they're coming from? You kind of lost
where they're coming from. No.
Okay.
No, just on the, where they would be going to.
Okay.
Right. One of the things that I tell clients is like, by hiring us, you kind of put yourself in a position of strength because we get to brag on you, we get to promote you, and it doesn't sound braggadocious because you're not saying it. And we basically can sell the candidate on you. If we think you want them, we'll sell the candidate on you so that you can really do the selecting then, right? Otherwise, you're kind of in a position where you got to recruit them to your company but then it's like, do I really want them? Do I not? How hard do I try to recruit? And so we can help, sell them up front.
Yeah, so I was on the other side of what you're doing. I was one of those candidates back in the day. Yeah. In my previous life, I was in corporate engineering position, and I went through the headhunter process or the recruiting process. And I interviewed with you and you were the go-between the two of us, and you were able to give information in a more candid way to both sides, saying, kind of thing. Is that kind of what you do? Kind of play mediator?
Definitely. We're definitely the concierge is kind of what we say, in it between the two. And contractually, we're not really an agent of either necessarily, but, we get paid if the deal gets done, but it gets done well, right? If they don't stay, we have to replace them. So, we're incentivized properly to get the deal done, but to get the deal done right.
Okay.
It's a long-term play, and it takes a lot of back and forth in there. Now, I've never went through a headhunter for hiring, and I've never been through the headhunter process for ever being hired. That just shows how long I've been an entrepreneur. Nobody wants me.
I don't know if headhunter is the good word for it. Recruiter would be better now.
Recruiter, or however you put that in there. I don't know why I said headhunter, but there we go.
In the 80s, that's what you were called, as headhunters, because you get these calls saying, "Hey, we're looking for somebody with your talents, so would you be interested in talking to us?" Is that kind of what your team does? Is they kind of start that process?
Well, yes. And Rob, you bring an interesting point there, because I've never gone through it myself either. And I'd never hired one. So we built this company from a business owner's perspective where I was running a firm. I was running a firm of 120 people, and I had all the recruiting in-house. I'm like, I wish someone would have helped me with this. And I met with recruiting firms and they couldn't do it. And so we built this from a business owner's perspective. And, we're probably doing some things wrong per the industry standards that just seem like, why wouldn't we do that? And so I purposefully avoided any industry trade shows, listening to any industry podcasts, any I didn't want the junk and the fixed thinking that, was like, this is how it's always been done. I didn't want any of that junk in my head. I wanted to come at it from a totally different perspective. And it cost us, but it's also helped us in a lot of areas too.
So
we've done the same thing. We've done the same thing. I mean, how many times did we get told we couldn't do the things we do?
All the time. Everybody says that's not industry standards or whatever, because we don't really listen to the industry. And sometimes it gives that a unique approach or a different look for your business that's got to be more creative, if you will. So when you're working for, I'm kind of making a statement there. I didn't really ask you a question. Sorry about that, Steve. But when you're working with companies, if you have a success rate with them, do they come back? Do you get a lot of repeat business from the companies you're recruiting for, or do you have to go out and develop a lot of new companies to recruit for?
Yeah.
What's that process?
I mean, both, right? So we're still in client acquisition mode. I don't have a book of business, but yes. So basically, all of our companies. So because of our ICP, we're looking for firms that are growing. They have a marketing machine, so they don't have a lead generation product. They don't have a lead generation problem. What they have is a sales team problem, and specifically in the wealth advisory space, the sales team has to have certain licenses. And traditionally in the industry, people with those licenses own their own business, but most of them shouldn't. Most of them should be in someone else's business that has all the support mechanisms already in place. And so I found that niche. And so what happens is, because they're continuing to grow, we've placed that first advisor for them. Well, that advisor generates more business, which means now they need a service advisor to service that book. And now they need, a marketing coordinator or a Salesforce data analyst. And we're purposefully targeting companies that don't have an internal human resources or talent acquisition department, so we can be that partner for them. So, an average client pays about $27,000 per placement with us. And we are finding that they're going to need between 2 and 4 people a year from that. And so, so we're in, high ticket sales in that sense, but each of those positions are going to generate between $500,000 and $2 million in revenue for them. So it's a no brainer for them to pay us that. And so we've just found this niche where it's that's going to continue going year after year after year.
Are you finding that the typical person that you are targeting out already has that book of business, or they just are really good at following the process and the sales process, just to step right in and take over and be able to handle the leads that are coming in?
Yeah. Very rarely do they have a book of business that they're bringing over, and our clients don't want that. So there's what's called the M&A game in our world, where these advisors are trying to buy advisors' books of business and bring them over. We actually don't do that. We only hire W-2 advisors. And so a lot of them, there's kind of 2 camps. Either they worked inside of some, a large firm, and they were running a book of business for that firm, but it was, culture was wrong, or, they cut their comp, or they stopped sending them whatever. And we help them make it fit. Or they were in the world where I used to be, where I would recruit people to build their own practice. And in that, they're doing everything, right? Lead gen, marketing, onboarding new clients, servicing old clients, paperwork, at compliance, everything. And it's no, they're really good at, relationships, or they're really good.
It's kind of that insurance. It's kind of like that insurance model of, I don't want to mention any names, but yeah, I mean, they're constantly out there going through and then going that process.
Yes.
And I totally see where you're coming from, because the M&A side's a whole different game. I've actually been inside of some of those deals that are inside of the corner, seeing some of those deals done. That's a whole interesting ball game in its own aspect.
Yep.
What are some of your biggest challenges right now? I'm just curious.
Yeah. So for us, it's, I have sold everything in our company. And so scaling a sales team is making it, and I'm almost to the point where I'm thinking it is just relationship based. We've tried so many different things, and complex and simple, and so, I'm about to the point where I'm I just need to clone myself and start, continue my relationship development, and then hand off those relationships. But that's been the biggest challenge is figuring out, nailing down our ICP, which we really have just done in the last month, and said we're only working with wealth management firms of this size. Anything prior to that was not fair for, my CRO to go after, because we kept changing. And so that's really been, that's the last missing piece.
Well, and being able to talk to that person. So, I mean, we face that on our side, because 90% of our business is small businesses inside of it. And finding someone who can talk to a business owner on their level and understand what it is they're looking for is a talent in itself. And it's hard to do, because if you haven't wore their hat and wore their shoes and understand that, there's this going on, that going on, that ADHD brain of business owners, you're not going to get what they're doing. That's why you can't just take a customer service person and go, here, answer these support tickets.
Yeah.
Answer this every time, because then you're going to sound like everybody else. They're going to be like, no, I'm not doing this. This doesn't make sense. I mean, it's an amazing piece and a struggle. I wish I could clone myself. I wish I could clone Dean. But I haven't found that machine yet.
We don't want that.
So I agree with you 100%. Now I'm kind of curious, as being able to do that, you're building these relationships. Are you doing anything on the marketing side?
No, we're not. Well, that's not. All right. Here's what our current go-to-market is on the scalable side. So again, I got into this whole thing was to build enterprise value. So me selling through relationships and connections was just a means to provide the cash flow to build a scalable model.
Right.
So right now we're pulling from Clay. We're pulling job postings that are for wealth advisor, financial advisor position. We're returning the companies and the decision makers from those companies, and then they're going and feeding into Instantly campaigns to send out cold email to all of those. And then we're buying all the phone numbers, and I have a SDR team that makes a bunch of cold calls and reaches out to them. We haven't gone as far as to incorporate HeyReach and start doing LinkedIn automation inside of that as well. That's kind of the next step. We started there about 6 months ago, and the problem we had was we were too broad. We were like, we'll serve anybody, and it didn't work. And we were really noisy amongst everyone else, and our value proposition was not. It was not, Alex Hormozi $100 million offer. It wasn't a $100 million offer. We have that now, and we have the narrow niche focus. So we're literally real time, just going back to that same process and like nailing that. I think it's going to work very, very well. Me personally, I found a couple different types of call them shoulder industries, people who serve the same clientele as us that sell products to them. And if we help their clients hire more people to grow their firm, they sell more of their products. And so we've built some really good strategic relationships there where they're referring us left and right to their clients. But that's really only something that I can speak to based on my unique experience and access, trying to scale that. So your question about marketing, I don't know if that's marketing in your definition or not.
So my definition of marketing is we look at marketing as a tree aspect. And that's a relatively newer concept for us and a whole piece that we're building around. But it's probably the easiest way to explain what it is we do, what it is, how marketing works. But it's an ecosystem of a tree. So in the very bottom, you have your listings engine for what we do. That's where you're going to have all your directories, your Google business profile, all these different pieces that are your name or your address, your phone number that are out there in the market. And then you have your tree trunk, which is going to be your website, making sure you have the right scheme on your website, right SEO, you have the right tags. This is going to be where, AI chats are able to pick up on your information and know who you are. And then you have your canopy of your tree, which is going to be, your blog, going to be your social. You're going to have sub branches of each of the networks that are there. You might have video marketing. You might have podcasts. You might have email marketing. Yeah. You might have events, whatever it might be. Everybody's canopy is going to look different as far as that goes. Yeah. Now, I don't think we've ever put a recruiter inside of our listings engine. I'm thinking about all of our data points that we have. I'm pretty sure it's there, but I wasn't sure if recruiters or any recruitment firms or anything would ever use that and what that would actually do. My data point and my marketing brain are going, I wonder what that would do.
Yeah. Yeah, super.
Do
you know of anybody in our system that has that?
No, I can't think of anybody that actually does. We have some placements, but that's a different kind. It's more of a HR type of businesses, and you're not really.
I guess we do have some of those.
Yeah. But I don't know. But so, Steve, are you a do you go out nationally and find people? Yep. So I don't know how that would. It would work for some parts of it. I don't know, Rob.
It still work. I mean, we're not really local as much as we work, because it still builds up your backlinks and builds up your reputation.
Right, because of the listings engine side of it, right?
Right. So I'm just looking at it from a
so
marketing aspect. I was just curious.
What it does is make sure our website's stronger, Steve, basically.
Okay. Interesting.
So
yeah,
I was curious what you're doing on that side, because I'm assuming you're doing social media. I'm assuming you're doing possibly some video marketing and putting it through. So I always like to hear what people are doing, because that's where my brain always goes.
Yeah. Okay. So to that, yes, I didn't even talk about that. So obviously we got a website, like Google profile. We're not doing any ads. We've got Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, TikTok. I do a gazillion on LinkedIn. I do probably 5 posts a day on LinkedIn plus 2 videos. I do 3 to 4 podcasts a week, which each get, 7 to 9 shorts from that. And so like that's going on our YouTube channel, my stuff. And so, differentiating between mine and the company is kind of been challenging. I've opted to just post it on my stuff because I have so much more traction there. We do regular posts on our LinkedIn, text-based ones. But anyhow, so tons of social, mostly LinkedIn, because that's where our whole audience is.
Right.
And I'd make sure that you're focused on making sure that you're using your transcripts right and pulling off to make sure you're doing blogging. Yeah, making sure that you're putting that stuff out there. And I think that's where a lot of businesses are forgetting it. If I was to guess, you're probably not doing that side.
No, we're not doing. I know we need to. I have all the content. I have articles for days, and we could just crush, when we get there.
so when I look at the whole reason why we picked the tree is because everything is connected. So when you're talking about social media, that should connect to the blog. Everything has all these connections and tie-in pieces. And I think everything from a small business, one-man shop, all the way to enterprise, there's so many connections. So when I'm looking at it from a data science point, there's so many connections that never get made. Yeah. And there's so much value between making those connections. Yeah. So I'm always curious of what someone's doing.
Yeah. We're aware of a lot and doing a little.
But you're in the boat with most small entrepreneurial businesses. Yeah. I mean, we're all so busy trying to build the business that we don't do some of the things that we know would help us, especially when it gets lean. Yeah. And we all go into those lean modes, and that's when having that in position is really good. Yeah. And that's what we try to coach all of our businesses that are with us.
Yeah. Well, so many business owners are in the aspect of, and I'm assuming the recruiting world's the same way. There's that certain piece to where I know I should be doing something different, and I know I could get better results out of this. I just don't know where to start and where to even go. Yeah, totally. And I have a feeling that your clients are probably the same way when they come to you. They're like, all right, well, I've been looking for this solution. I just didn't know how to find this solution.
Yeah, I mean that's the whole thing, right? If your offer is created properly, they're like, that's what I'm looking for. That's the biggest piece I'm missing.
Yeah.
And I think that's where you could duplicate yourself out a lot easier too, by cloning yourself, because you can then utilize that data. I've got a couple of videos that are going to be coming out that I'm going to do that Dean doesn't even know about, that are going to go over how to use that data and how to be able to do it in less than an hour. I can show you how to take that and absolutely optimize a video and be able to get more traction out of that video and more different aspects than someone ever even thought about. So make sure you watch our YouTube channel for that.
Well, that's I nerd out on, so I'd love to see that.
But if anybody is looking to be able to recruit, you're looking for anybody inside of that wealth area. Can you talk about what you're looking for, how they would find you, and all those good details?
Yeah. So the Well Recruiting Solutions, our website is thewell.solutions. I've got a landing page called riajobs.com. riajobs.com. And on that, I've got the top 10 jobs that most RIA firms should be hiring for. I've got salary surveys from all over the United States based on firm size to find out, what you probably should be paying, template job descriptions for those, so top 10 job postings. So that's a free giveaway that we give to people in the space, and a lot of people have found that valuable. So I'll share that, riajobs.com.
Okay.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, you bet. You bet. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Awesome.
I learned a lot about recruiting today.
Recruiting's an interesting world.
Yeah, it is. Very much.
I mean, there's a lot of unknowns inside of it. It's kind of like the marketing world. If you don't know, you don't know.
Yeah, totally.
So thank you so much, Steve.
Thanks, Steve.
Dean.